'Cause after the after party, we're gonna keep it going. We're gonna rip it up.
Thanks for tuning in to the hottest talk radio show around, providing an open discussion for some of the most important social issues and trending topics today. From personal growth or spirituality to sex and relationships, no subject is ever taboo. So prepare to be empowered, enlightened, and entertained during another episode of the award-winning Let's Face It with Will Strayhorn and Friends. Real people, real topics, real talk.
What's up? Thanks for tuning in to Let's Face It. It is Wednesday, November 29th, 2017. We're coming to you live and direct from WODU on the campus of Old Dominion University. I am in the studio with Miss Paula B. Hey, boo.
Hey, boo.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
We have a newbie in the studio, Mr. Justin Gravely from Richmond, Virginia. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Doing good. We have Miss Nikki Curry
What's up, Nick?
in the studio. And then we have our sound engineer, Mr. Kavan Robinson, who's getting ready for a very important day on, what is it, December 16th?
Yep, the 16th.
Wow.
I know. I'm so excited for you.
I remember that. Yeah.
I remember graduation day. It's exciting.
It's crazy. It's all this like preparation. All I've been hearing is a lot of stress. You talk about like finding the job
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of
That's
anxious.
when the real work comes into
Yeah,
play.
kind of nervous.
Yeah. So how was everybody's Halloween? I mean, not Halloween, but Thanksgiving.
My Thanksgiving was, it was good. It was sad. This was the first holiday without my sister. So, and plus I was here and, the rest of my family's in New England. So, it was like, I'll say bittersweet. I don't, and then, what I found out.
Because your sister.
My sister passed away and my dad passed away on Thanksgiving Day 22 years ago at 4 o'clock. But what I found out was that my brother had, when they were saying grace, let everybody know around the table that my sister passed away on September 23rd. My dad passed away on November 23rd. So they both passed away on the 23rd. And that was just so weird to us. That was like really deep. So, I mean, it's been a difficult holiday. And my birthday's coming up in a couple of weeks and then Christmas. So it's just like really weird.
Do you guys do anything to like commemorate their memory during the?
Well, what they did is that they went around the table and said what they were thankful for, and they just talked about their memory of my sister, and everybody was like totally emotional. My mom, who normally says grace, they said she only got through thank you for this food, and then it broke down. And then it just
that
went
first
from,
year is really
it's really
rough.
it's really rough. It's really rough.
What about you, sir? What'd you do?
I had to work. I was working in the process of it. My uncle got killed the week before Thanksgiving.
Right.
So our family was in bereavement that whole week.
The whole week?
Yes.
Wow.
Tough time.
And what did you do? You went home, right?
Yeah, it's just me and my mom, so we were just chilling at the crib.
Okay. Did you
Watching
cook?
Football.
Yeah, watching football. My mom does all the cooking.
Really?
Yeah.
What did you do?
Well, I went. So tradition, Thanksgiving is like our family reunion time of the year. Sinuses, excuse me. But the food was the nastiest.
Oh my God.
Oh my God! I hope nobody's listening, especially the.
I don't mind.
Oh my
that.
God.
Was it terrible?
Everybody should agree. I mean, I figured out in the barbershop today what the problem was, because all the people that could cook, they've all died off. And unfortunately, a lot of people who should have been paying attention in the kitchen were not paying attention. So we did like a potluck. We normally have it catered because it's such a large number of people, and we didn't have it catered. So we had different kitchens bringing food, and I mean, it was really good for me because I'm trying to lose weight. So I had a whole plate, and I probably ate about 40% of it. And I only had one plate. So
Now, see, I had all veggies. Which is
you had no turkey?
No, I didn't have any turkey. I had one little wing, but the rest I had collard greens, cabbage, and string beans. That's all I ate. I didn't have any cranberry sauce because I love having cranberry sauce, and that's all I had. It was good. It was different.
Is that Thanksgiving though?
That was Thanksgiving for me. I mean, they had the rest of the stuff and the trimmings and all of that, but
So
that's all I had.
You eat meat?
I do. I eat chicken and fish.
Okay.
That's what I eat.
Poor thing.
But yeah, I'm not. I love chicken. I mean, I'm not eating anymore. I don't eat fried chicken because I gave that up. But
Poor thing.
I know. But I'm not giving up chicken.
Okay.
That's
How was
something
yours,
I'm just
Nikki?
not doing.
Actually, mine was really good.
Did you cook?
Well, I cooked certain things, green beans, collard greens, my usual. It's 3 sisters, and we all have our assignments. But one of the sisters, she kind of
Oh, okay.
flaked out a little bit. She's slipping. But my oldest sister, she did most of the cooking. But we had a good time. We played a new game called Fibbage.
Fibbage. What is that?
It's like you have to tell a lie, and people have to choose your lie. That's how you win points. You play it on the internet, like maybe Fire Stick. We
Really?
had a blast.
My mom wanted to do that, but we didn't have any games. She said we should play games. Well, I don't.
Yeah, we normally play games at Christmas time.
Yeah.
Like
okay.
I coordinate all the games. Like we'll play bingo. I came up with this. Well, this game I googled. It's called the reindeer ear game, where you have to blow up all these balloons and get pantyhose, and you got a certain amount of time that you have to stuff the balloons in the pantyhose in each leg to make reindeer ears. So you got to blow up the balloons and you have to stuff it in. But it is so cute. It was amazing. And Christmas bingo, we play that, and. You never heard of that?
Then we do Pokino.
Yeah, we play Pokino as well. I mean, that's the big thing
really?
in our family, yes.
Well, maybe I'll write. You do that?
Not really. I haven't really heard of it. It's my first time, actually.
Yeah.
That is a super cool thing to do. You got to get pantyhose. You got to get balloons. You got to have somebody. You got to have like a team of 3 or 4. And then you got to have somebody blow up the balloons. Then you got to stuff them in each leg, and it makes reindeer ears. So I got red and green balloons. So. It was a super. My family loved it. At first, they thought it was corny, but oh my God, they had a blast.
Okay, all right.
Never heard of it.
Well, as usual, it's a lot going on
Yes.
in the country. I think the main thing that has caught my eye, and I'm gonna go ahead and say it, I think it's a witch hunt going on. I think for some reason all these women are coming out the woodworks, and some big, powerful male figures, are being taken down. About
all
this.
the way down.
I researched this. So feminists, which is what you guys are. They said all around us, they're basically sweeping up all these high-powered men for these sexual harassment and assault allegations. They said at first it was a slow drip with Bill Cosby, Roger Ailes, and Bill O'Reilly when they saw their careers capsized by women who alleged years of bad behavior. And then came Harvey Weinstein, and then I think they said the British Parliament has 36 members who are now being accused. In the United States, we had Roy Moore, Mark Halperin, I believe, the New Republic. And then, today we had Matt Lauer. He was fired. And we've had Charlie Rose last week.
Yes.
Kevin Spacey, James Toback, just to name a few. So, this is something that caught my eye. Alabama State Republican Ed Henry responded to the allegations of pedophilia against Roy Moore by calling for his alleged victims to be prosecuted. Because he said, if you believe this man is predatory, then they are guilty of allowing him to exist for 40 years. I think someone should prosecute and go after them, because you can't be a victim 40 years after, in my opinion. I agree with that.
Me too.
Why not?
I don't.
Why not?
I mean, because you're still suffering.
40 years later?
40 years later, I mean, it could still. I mean, I felt the same way that you did, but then after I really thought about it, I mean, things that happen to you in your childhood affects you in your adulthood.
Okay.
So these women have carried these secrets around for a long time.
But why?
It only took because they probably were too afraid to expose, and these are powerful people. So of course they're too afraid to say anything. And then of course, the old saying is that what goes on a house stays in the house. So they probably didn't have anybody to talk to about it. So now that all these things are coming out, they are freeing themselves and exposing these men for what they have been doing to women for centuries.
But
why wait
And I mean
40
years?
centuries.
Why wait 40-some years?
40-some years, yeah.
Because you have women that are talking about it now, so now they're feeling comfortable to expose these men.
Do you think
and
it's
to,
possible
and
that
to
because
say their truth?
so many people have come forward,
Yes.
now some people are coming through with some erroneous claims?
I believe some of this lies.
Why do you think that?
Some people are going broke and need money.
I mean, it's like every day a
Okay.
new person. But one person has not been, you know.
Trump, he got 16 women accusing him, and he ain't lost his job yet.
Not to mention his wife Ivana. I didn't know that she had accused him of rape prior to
Right,
him
that is true.
running for president. And then I think in her book she had to put a disclaimer in the beginning that she didn't want the term rape to imply any type of criminal or something.
But I think sooner or later he probably is going to get it because they are going to have to hold him accountable like they're holding everybody else accountable for their actions. I mean, what popped off today was just crazy. I could, well, Charlie Rose just, that
Crushed you.
that crushed me. Because I like Charlie Rose.
Yeah.
That crushed me. But the thing of it is that women are getting tired of men taking advantage of them and thinking that they can do it just because they are a man, and that you think that you can overpower us. You can't anymore. We're just not going to stand for it anymore. And if you want to lose all your money, all your wealth for a quick 5 minutes or trying to get somebody for sex, you want to lose all of that just for 5 minutes of
Because the women were victims, correct?
they are victims.
Do you believe all
Harmless
of them are
victims.
They are harmless victims.
Yes.
I mean,
Are
you're
you
sitting
sure?
there groping me, trying to, touch me and be inappropriate, and you think that that's okay because you're a man and you can think so, and you have power, and you have money, and you think you
Poor
can do
harmless
that.
women.
Are
you know
kidding?
what?
We are victims.
No,
We've
no.
been victims for
All
years.
y'all are not victims.
A lot of women walked in there wanting their career
thank
and
you.
then being very ambitious and knew what they had to do.
Some
to do.
women know what
Not
they
that
gotta
it's
do.
Okay,
right
so-
or wrong, but they knew very well what they were
But
walking
if you
into.
Okay,
sign
but
up
let
for
me
it,
let me just
and
tell
you
you.
get
Let me
it.
just tell you this. I like this. Okay, I'm gonna go back to this movie that
Okay.
that one
Well,
of my
people who want to call in, because we had a lot of people who were commenting on it, you can call in at 757-683-4405 if you want to weigh in on this question. Go ahead.
Okay, so I was watching this movie, but it was true. It was The Imitation of Life of Alana Turner.
Oh, yeah.
And it was one scene in the movie that sticks out to me. I mean, there's a lot of scenes, but this really sticks out to me because she went in pretending that she was from California. Some guy sent her in there, but what she was lying. So he was like pretty much telling her, okay, well, if he sent you in here, you know what time it is. So he pretty much let everybody off of staff leave. She was in there fixing her something to drink, starting to approach her and all this other kind of stuff. And she's like, no, that's not how I want to do it. He's like, well, this is how it's done. So it's always been known that, especially in Hollywood, that's the thing that happens. You have no choice in the matter if you want to be famous.
No, you do have a choice. You do have a choice.
You do have a choice.
You don't have to give up yourself.
Even
for a
if,
position.
but here's the thing, even if you say no, they're going to take it anyway. And this is what's happening.
Do you think women do it?
Yes.
No.
You don't think women do it?
Have any
Hold
women?
up, hold up.
I think it would take a very special type of a man
I don't
to
believe a
come
man
forward
would
and
come
say.
forward
Have
and
any-
But you don't believe there are any
I've been
high-powered
raped.
women
I've been
They're taking
molested.
who
advantage
have
of a
that?
man?
Yes.
Get out of here.
What?
You don't
Wait,
believe
they
it?
have any come out?
But hold on. What
That's
did you,
the
what
same
did you
thing
just say
as
about
men coming
women?
out against domestic violence, about being raped and stuff like that. It takes a lot because of the masculinity that we're supposed to portray.
But
So-
but the question is, what gave these men the right, like Charlie Rose, Matt, to do anything like that and not think that it's gonna cost you at the end? Because sooner or later, like I'm telling you, I've had conversations with my girlfriends regarding this. They're getting tired of men taking advantage of them. You see what I'm saying? Men are like thieves in the night. They steal everything. They want to steal your cookies. They
But do
want to
you
steal
believe
your
all of
heart.
them? But do you believe all of these women?
Absolutely.
Oh.
You believe
Because
all of them.
well, evidently it's got to be true because the thing of it is that they're either quitting before it's time for them to quit. There's politicians that are leaving their positions before they even start calling out their names.
But
There's actors that are fighting. They're just leaving. What actor has fought and said this is not true and I'm going to stand up and I'm going to fight? None of them. How many of them have paid thousands of dollars in hush money? All of them. They have lost their jobs, contracts, millions of dollars.
Millions.
Just to touch the tatas and the punani. Are you kidding me?
But can I say this?
Get up.
This is me.
That's men.
If you are a victim,
nasty.
if you're a victim and you want to prosecute them so they can go to jail, but instead you are taking money, that lets me know you are lying behind the whole ordeal. Many people take his money, they shut their mouth, and they go and hide out. If you really want your victim to pay, you're going to take it to court and say, forget the money. I just want y'all to know what they did to me, and you will not take no money because this is me. Well, if you are really raped, why would you take the money? Follow that. You should have took the money when they offered to you in the first beginning and kept your mouth quiet.
Why are you offering me the money? Why are you offering me the money?
Because you know why? Most of them know you're lying. And it's going to shut you up. No. You're lying because this is me. If I can pay you, and you claim you are
to avoid the whole situation,
and you want me prosecuted, you want me to go to jail.
Okay, but that could be for both of us. I mean, that's my own restitution, and you're going to give me $14 million to keep my mouth shut. Then I can avoid the embarrassment of the whole trial and thing. I may do that because I got kids, I got my mom. So why don't we just come to the table? What will make you happy? What will keep you this quiet? So both of us will not have to go through anything and to protect our families.
Why would you bring it up then if you want to protect your family, your kids, and all of that?
Because you did something to me. Of course I'm going to bring it up.
And this makes,
so wait, let me just make this point. So why is it all of a sudden all the men are saying that they have to go the counseling? They're apologizing for their actions. You know, what was the thing that Kevin Spacey was saying? He was apologizing. What I can't think of it. And a couple of them said that. Well, pretty much what they were saying was that, you know, they didn't realize they had this problem. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go seek help for it. Yo, you grab like a zillion women. You approach a zillion men. Now, all of a sudden, you didn't realize. You know, just forgive me. I didn't really realize that it was a problem. You did this to thousands and hundreds. I'm not going to say thousands. Hundreds of women.
But you can be kind of friendly.
So when is enough? When are women supposed to take their stance? We're not doing this anymore. This is trickling into not even to everyday women, where they're looking at now their mates and like, you know what? We don't have to take this anymore. We don't have to stand for this anymore. We're our own persons. We have our own rights. You know, we're not going to let you define who we are. If I say to you, no, I don't want to have sex with you, I don't want to have sex. I shouldn't have to make to be feel bad because it's something that I don't want to do because this is my body. I don't want to do it. Mm-hmm. Now, if you say to me, if you get an attitude and be like, oh, well, I'm going to go have sex just because I'm your wife or your girlfriend, if I say, no, I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it. Because when y'all say y'all don't want to do it, you shut the whole show down. I was about to cuss, and I'm not. You understand what I'm saying? If you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it. So why can't we say no?
40 years is a long time, though. 40 years is a long time. That's the number that just sticks on me when they come out like really, really late. That's just it. I mean,
I'm in agreement with that. That is.
I don't want to be insensitive to the fact that okay, maybe they were grieving over the period of time, but it's still that's a long time just to be sitting it on your conscience, and it's like now you want to come out after the whole life done.
And there's such a large number of people.
And I feel sorry for them if they are victims, but it should be a stipulation on when you can come out about this.
The question is, what happens when we say 40 years is a long time to hold this in? Sometimes women have triggers, and it takes an occurrence in their lives or something happens, and that's when they come out with it, or maybe they have seek therapy or something. What do you all have to say about that?
That is true. Mm-hmm. Women do have triggers. When you are violated mentally or physically, and then something that somebody says or a movement that a male can make will trigger you and just bring all of that back. It's hard to get rid of all of that. Even when you go to counseling, I mean, they can help you with it, but when that trigger comes, it brings it all back to you. So when you find that you have a platform where you could talk about it amongst other women that have been victims, of course they're going to say it. You know, I think that it's right that you bring up something 40 years later, but if it still affects you 40 years later and it affects you now, yes, you have a right to talk about it. Yep. That's how I feel about it. And then bottom line, at the end of the day, a man is a man, and it's all about
Wait a minute. We're not going to generalize.
Okay. All right, I'm not going to. Okay, I'm not going to.
But it's like you're trying to put man down like women don't do nothing.
I heard you, Nikki.
But to me, I think it should be a stipulation that you can't come out so many years down the line. Because 40 years, they should, no. I'm sorry.
Okay, who does all the sexual assaulting and the rapes? Is it women or is it men?
Hold on.
Who does all?
Usually it's
Most.
men.
I'll say
No,
most.
I'm not going to say it's
all.
usually men, because most men do not come out and say they was victims to certain stuff. They're not.
So what you're saying is that if I see somebody and I want some and you telling me no, but I'm gonna take it from you. So you're saying that I can overpower a guy?
Yes.
Well, a lot of these people.
Oh my God, this is ridiculous. So you're saying you're gonna make me throw you out. This is first breath. Are you trying to tell me that? Are you trying to tell me that I can overpower a guy that's 6'4", almost?
You could have put some in this drink.
But there are some girls who pursue sex from men who are very aggressive in that matter, and I mean, I don't know.
And then, like with Harvey Weinstein, a lot of these women, I guess they were promised advancement in their career. So I think probably more situations with women, because there are a lot of high-power women who...
Like Oprah?
Ooh, I didn't want to say that name.
Yeah, but I mean,
we're going to rewind and erase that name. But I'm just saying people who are in those type positions who, you know...
Right, I'm going to say that because that's the norm in Hollywood. That is the norm, that women think that in order for them to get where they need to go, they're going to have to put out. And that's what it is. I mean, that's
You're so brutal.
yeah, but that's what time it is. You see what I mean? But they're trying to change that. I don't want to put out anymore. I want you to hire me because of my talents. But men know that that's because they set the standard for that. In order for you to get this, you're going to have to do this for me. And if you don't want to do it, screw you. I can go. There's like 5 other women that's willing to do it for me.
Okay.
But you should never even put a woman in a position to do that anyway.
Okay. Yeah. The number again to call in is 757-683-4405. Because Paula, she needs some help.
No, I don't,
She's
because that's manipulation. I'm good. I mean, they can come in and join me.
She needs some help right now.
I'm good. That's manipulation. That's what men do. They manipulate women.
So do you consider yourself a feminist?
No, I just consider myself a realist.
A realist?
You're right. I mean, I keep it real. You know that.
Well, I thought you did, but okay.
What are you saying?
I don't like the fact that you generalize all men. And I don't like the fact that you play these women who appear so small, who want to appear so strong that they're these victims who all of these men, all these women walk into these situations as victims. I don't believe that. I think a lot of these people who they knew what they were getting into, they knew what went, like you said, that what you said, the casting couch. They knew about those situations, and now that Bill Cosby and all these other people have been prosecuted, this is a prime time for them, perhaps for revenge, for more money. I think that a lot of these people are taking advantage of the opportunity.
So when tell me about the manipulation. How you manipulate a woman to do something like that, to make her feel less than herself. You have to do this. That's manipulation. Am I right?
It is.
Come on now. That's manipulate. The men manipulate women. Men know what to say to get what it is that they want. Period. Down the line. Because look.
Go ahead.
And I'm not saying that women are weak. This is why I had a conversation.
To me, that's what you're portraying. That's what you're saying.
I had a conversation with my girlfriend. And the thing of it is that so many things, you have so many relationships with men. And we get hurt from one to the other to the next. And the thing of it is, it ends up making us bitter. And the thing of it is, and that's why they ended up turning.
That's the key word, I think. There you go.
Right. So
bitter. There's some bitter women out here.
And
but
it's
you're
y'all's
right.
fault because we're bitter. We wear our hearts on our.
You're bitter.
We wear our hearts on. You make us bitter.
You're bitter.
You make us bitter because of the things that you do.
No one can make you anything.
Absolutely.
You can either choose to do.
Listen, I say, just like Nola.
That's next.
Okay,
that's
go
next.
Ahead. Okay. Put your cards on. That's why I say put your cards on the table. If I'm telling you to put your cards on the table and don't do the dog and pony show, you don't have to tell me. And I'm just talking because of the conversation that I have with my friends. You don't have to tell me that you love me to get the punani. Because if I want to give it to you, I'm going to give it to you. You don't have to go through all of that. But that's what they do. You understand
a lot of times you can get on the regular if you say I love you, though.
See, but why do you have to say it?
Why do you have to believe it?
Because
Cold, man.
Why do you have to
But
believe
why do
it?
you have to say it? Why can't you just say what it is?
But
If I don't want to do it, you don't have to tell me all of that.
Okay, let's switch over the conversation.
Okay, let's go.
So the movie, She's Gotta Have It.
Yes, I
came
loved
out
it.
Thanksgiving Day. You and I, we binge watched it
I did too.
in one day, pretty much. Well, I did. I don't think. When did you see the last?
I seen the last episode last night.
I watched all 10 episodes.
I watched it.
in one setting. It was good. Did
It
you
was
see
very
it?
good.
You didn't see it. Did you see
I haven't
it?
seen it yet either.
Oh my God,
Go watch
it's
it.
super good.
You gotta watch
It's crazy
You gotta
because
watch
my
it.
professor actually produced the original.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Monty Ross. Yeah, he actually worked with Spike Lee and everything like that. He's like the
wow.
African American film study teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah, he actually worked on
I
Really?
it.
wonder if he had anything to do with this one.
I know he's getting some royalties from it, but I don't know
Okay.
if he actually worked on
Okay,
it.
because I didn't see. I don't think I saw the first. I might have, but I don't recall it like I did this one. But okay, so She's Gotta Have It. I know the original one. She appeared to be like this feminist. Number one, she was a feminist,
Yes.
and then she was, to me, she was a nymphomaniac. She was a freak. But she doesn't like to be labeled and anything like that. So her name Nola Darling. She's involved with Jamie, Mars, Greer, and then a female, Opal.
Right.
So,
Right.
so what did you think about it? The whole show. What did you take away from it?
I loved it.
Uh-huh.
My takeaway was that she's her own person, and just because she wants to be involved with 3 men, don't look at me like I'm a hoe. You know what I mean? Because I'm doing what men do. And it's okay for them to do that. And it should be okay for me to do it. Don't put me in a box like that. And she told him, and see, this is what I liked about her. She told him, jump from straight up. Don't catch any feelings. Don't do it. Because this is not what time it is, because this is all about me, because I'm not going to let you control me. And that's one of her biggest things. You're not going to be able to control me.
Possess her,
and
right.
possess her and make
Right.
her do what it is that you want her to do. And she only has sex in her love bed. She's not going to have sex in your zone. She's going to have it in her zone. And that's what she was free in what she did.
She was a free spirit.
She was a free spirit. And, and it wasn't all about the coins or what they can do for her, because 9 times out of
It was
10
about that.
Yes,
It was.
Yes, it was.
She said it
got
in
her
episode
$10,000 back. Well, she
10 or
needed the money
9,
at the time.
and that's why she liked Jamie, because he took care of her.
Well, because he was like a father figure to her. But Jamie
Father, that's nasty.
that's what she. Well, when she went to her therapist.
Yeah, right.
And she was
Who I believe also had an interest, but go ahead.
Right, I do too.
Yeah.
But she was breaking the 3 gentlemen down.
Yeah.
And that's what she had said about Jamie. But Jamie is the one that she really cares about. The one that she really has to be careful with, because she really does have feelings for him out of all of them. Each of them brings something different to the table, and she
Right.
can't combine them all. So
Right.
I can't combine them all, so I'm just going to have all 3. And I can do that.
You can do
Just
that.
like how did you feel about when we were talking about the black dress episode?
What do you mean?
When she wore that black dress
3 different times,
What-
3 different ways.
Right, 3 different ways,
Uh-huh.
and she went out with Jamie. He was like, "Ooh, that black dress." He was like,
He was ashamed of her in that black dress.
right, because of the place they were at. But the
Right.
thing of she was saying to him, "I don't care if you're ashamed of me or not. It's how you're looking at me in the black dress." But that's not what this black dress represents, exemplifies.
She was cuckoo. She was cuckoo.
She was why? Because she was free.
There's a difference between being free and out of line. He knew she knew what he did for a living. I'm sure she had an idea where she was going. Like he said, that was his coworker. She shouldn't have been dressed like that. If she came into the place and we were his colleagues, we knew that wasn't his wife, we would know exactly we would assume exactly what type girl she was by how she presented herself.
Okay, so
I talk about image all the time, and that when you looked at her, the dress was short, tight, everything was showing. She looked out of place.
Well, see, that's when he has said, if you don't want anybody to look at you in a certain way, you should dress a certain way. What is a certain way you're supposed to dress? Because sometimes when I go out, like, I'll wear low-cut stuff because I like to have my girls.
remember.
Right, remember? I like to have my girls out sometimes because I think it's sexy. I mean, it's sexy for me. Now, if you
So
look
when a
at
man comes to you and he's showing sexual attention to you, you shouldn't be offended or surprised.
And
But
that's
the
what I
thing,
said.
but the thing of it is that you shouldn't do that though. Just because I have my girls out, And if you come and tell me that I look nice, that's fine. But that doesn't give you.
I mean,
right,
I'm not saying
like,
touching you and
right,
stuff like
but
that.
that's the same thing Nola was saying.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I'm dressed like that doesn't give you the right to think that I'm this way because I'm dressed that way. That's your impression. But no, that's how I feel confident in myself.
So what's
that
the
I can
purpose
have
of it?
Because I think it looks
You're not,
sexy.
you're not doing that for attention?
Myself. No, because
you
I'm
do
doing
that
it
at
for
home,
myself.
standing in front of the mirror.
No, I mean, because I like the way it looks. I'm not trying to get attention. I mean, I get attention with my clothes on, with nothing showing. But if I feel comfortable and this is what I want to wear, that's what I want to do.
Okay. Do you believe that, Bull?
I do. I mean,
thank you.
You know, I understand. You know, the
So
whole.
when you
I
see
understand
these
this whole
girls,
movement. I understand
when you
the
see
new
these
movement.
girls, Amber Rose. If you saw Amber Rose walking down the street, the sidewalk here on campus, your first impression of her is going to be that she's a certain type of a girl. So if you go, you know, baby, whatever, trying to push up on her, she can't be surprised that you're doing that.
Yeah.
Because that's the type of attention that she's drawing.
So
she can't say I'm a classy, like your favorite word, holy, whatever, because that's not the product that she's presenting.
So
is what I'm saying.
But the thing of it is, here again, this is what I'm talking about. Always putting labels on a woman. So always.
You just want to be victim the whole show.
No, but it's always putting labels on us.
But do you think sometimes
But the
you
thing
put
of
the
it is,
label
you
on
got.
yourself?
Why? Because I want to do what I want to do when I get ready to do it, and I can't do it because of what I think that y'all gonna think. Get out of here with that. The thing of it is that you guys can come in a 3-piece suit. You see what I'm saying? Look all nice, reserved and everything, and be a pedophile, and people don't even know it, and you don't even look the part. And that happens all the time. That happens all the time. But here I am. I'm letting you know this is me. Okay. I'm not a hoe. I'm not. You see what I mean? But this is how I feel. This is the way I like this outfit, and I want to put it on. And when I put it on, I wear it well, damn well.
Well, let's talk about this. So
yes,
one of the biggest things, like you were saying earlier, she just wanted to have sex. She wanted the I guess the companionship.
Right.
But she advised not to catch feelings. So what do you do when two people become out of sync? And one person, they catch feelings, and the other person, you know, they're sticking to their word. It's just about sex. What do you do in those type of situations?
I mean, they said that she had a lot of rules. She did have a lot of rules, and she always told them, you need to stick to the rules. Because in the beginning of the game, she told him, you see what I mean? And you already know the rules. And she stuck to that. She did not change. But the thing of it is that if you happen to catch feelings, now you're trying to control her with your feelings. And she was not having that. She was like, you could dip. You could go because you're not going to run me. You're not going to control me. So you know the rules. You got into the game. It was already set. You shouldn't have caught the feelings because you know it was all about the slap and tickle and having a great time.
Okay. The slap and tickle. Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And she was true to her.
So let's switch the tables. Let's say that it was the guy. Nola was a guy.
Yeah.
Is this when you would start playing that victim role?
No, but see, this is my problem. This is the same, and Nikki knows my saying. As long as you tell me what sandbox we're playing
but
in.
Why do people have to tell? God gives us all this inner compass. You can call it your intuition, your gut, the Holy Spirit, or whatever. But there's always a sign where you know if somebody's feeding you some BS or not. Now, whether you choose to, there's always a sign.
Well, I mean, yeah,
whether you eat something doesn't feel right. It's that something's off. Something's not lining up. But sometimes you want something so bad that you choose to overlook certain things.
That is true.
And then in the end, you want to cry victim. You shouldn't have told me this. But there's always, unless it's like a one-night stand, you may not get it. But if it's a period of a time, somebody's going to slip up somewhere, or your instinct is going to pick up on something. Whether you choose to listen to it or not, that's a different thing.
Well,
we call that red flag.
Right, red flags. Exactly. They're always red flags.
That's why I think women are different than men, and that's why I really enjoy watching.
Appendages, yeah. Go ahead.
She's got to have it because she was true to hers and she was true to them because she didn't want her feelings to get hurt and she did not want she actually was protecting herself and them.
Do you think she's been hurt? That's why she's doing what she's doing?
I think maybe so. And the thing of it is that just like when they had that dinner at Thanksgiving, when she invited all of them.
That was another thing.
That's so I know, but a man, but see, women are built different. A man would never do that. You understand what I'm saying? Because he's not honest enough to do that. You know, where she's like, well, I'm going to bring y'all all over.
I don't know a woman who would be.
We have a question.
Yeah. I don't know a woman who would be.
Really interesting one. I'm going to paraphrase The question is, so, well, first they stated they saw the original.
Yeah, I saw the original.
So did I, but I haven't seen this one yet. But anyway, they are asking, so if a man has on a pair of tight jeans showing his
Right.
print.
Print. You can say print. Yeah.
People don't make me
Platform.
nervous. Does that mean he is? I mean, I can't see the question. Does that mean he is being? I'm sorry, guys.
That's okay.
Because I'm trying to multitask here. That show his print. Does that mean we as women should touch or assume he wants sex?
Yeah. That's a very good question. So you go ahead and answer that, bruh, while you go ahead.
Well,
Can we restate
from a
the
male
question?
point of view,
She said, can she restate it?
yeah.
So if a man has on tight jeans
Like,
or tight pants and showing his what's the politically correct word? Showing his print, whatever. Does that mean that women should assume that he wants sex? Did I say
That's a
that
tricky
right?
question because sometimes you don't have a. I mean, it's there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say.
I mean,
no.
when I wear skinny jeans, you can
My
see
boobs
it.
are here. So
What?
what are you,
No,
so
no,
what are
no.
you saying?
I'm gonna say no because I
They
do
ain't
wear
going
tight
nowhere.
jeans sometimes.
Yeah,
And
you wear them a lot of times.
you're gonna see it 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
When I have on tight jeans.
That's any man because it's there.
But
I mean, now
Okay,
I've
so
seen men
our
who,
body
like back
parts
in the day, I
is
think of
different
Eddie
from
Murphy.
ours.
Remember when he used to wear those tight leather pants?
Yeah.
I mean, it was to be sexually suggestive. So yeah, it was to be sexy. Just like when you wear your tight big apple bottoms. Not you personally. Do you have apple bottoms? I don't know if you have apple bottoms. But I mean, it's the same thing. It's to draw attention. You're not doing it because it's comfortable. You're not doing it because your favorite pair of jeans. You're doing it for the attention.
Well, we're not going to run up to you and be like, wow, look at that. You see what I'm
Well,
saying?
I know some women who will.
Some women do it.
Yeah, I know some women who will.
I had it done at my job.
I mean, I'm not saying that they won't, but what I'm saying 9 times out of 10.
No,
They're not. We're not
no,
going
about
to do
4
that.
times out of 10. There's some freaky women out there. Trust
I
me.
mean, yeah, but women are. But the thing of it is, today women are not.
See, you only talk to women down at the church. I think that's what
I
you
ain't
do.
talk to no church women. They probably like
You're
that.
not talking to no real women.
Yeah, I'm talking
Because
to
remember,
real
I'm in
women.
the salon, so I hear
Right,
women.
but
And I'm surprised.
well,
I'm like,
I'm-
back in the day when I was, messing with y'all, I was like, this. Y'all didn't do this type of stuff, but women are bold nowadays.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Women are bold today. I mean, so much. I don't know if I can say this. So much so that a lot of women, take care of their own. They can take care of their own self. They can get pleasure and take care of their own selves and be comfortable in that. We're more comfortable in our skin now
They
and
have sex with themselves.
have sex with themselves because they. Right, right, exactly. And so
It's
the
just
thing,
nasty,
the
but go ahead.
thing of it is that they no longer want to be bound to.
This is what I
make-
want you to practice doing. Stop saying they, because you're not a representative of all of them.
So what do you want me to say?
Just say most of the women, the women
Well-
I know.
Well, most of the women
Mm-hmm.
don't want to be bound to that anymore. They want to be free to say no if they don't want to do it. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. You can't control me. They want to get out of the box. And that's what Lola, what's her name?
Nola. Nola Darling.
Nola Darling.
Yes.
She
like
was
the name.
not allowing me to. She was not allowing any man to put her in a box. I mean, I learned a lot from her. It's so much so that I was in tears.
Well, we have a question here from Facebook Live.
Okay.
Or a statement, I should say. Women talk, we don't touch. We are mental.
Exactly.
Women talk, we don't touch.
We don't. You don't see us making like the first advance. We'll tell you. We'll tell you.
From Shanika as well.
Right.
Oh,
and
okay. Well,
we'll
Shanika,
tell-
she's a different breed.
no.
No.
But what if we said
That's my classy
we go
friend.
on a date? So what am I?
Go ahead. Answer.
We go on our first date.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking really nice and everything, and I already know that I'm not. The answer is no. But you trying your best to be like, oh, let me take you to my house. We can have a little nightcap, and I'm like, no, I really want you to come. I want to show you my fish. No, that's okay. You try now. I've already told you no. I don't want to come to your house. This is our first date, but you're still trying to coerce me into coming to your house to have sex with you, and I'm telling you no. So why do you guys do that? Because all in your mind, you said, I done fed her.
I definitely can't answer that for you.
I don't do that.
But you know what I mean? I done fed her, gave her this. I want the cookies. And then if I do give you the cookies, then you may not ever call me again.
True.
See, that's
So
what
Now, I can answer that's true,
There was a one-night stand.
especially if it's that first night.
exactly.
Now, what I did like what you said when you pointed out the fact that people should be more upfront with your intentions. But then again, from a male point of view, if we're totally upfront, sometimes, you know, unless you're this new type of one, this Nola Darling type woman, then, you know, we're going to lose our chance of, like Coach says, getting the cookies.
So maybe it wasn't meant for you to have the cookies, though.
Why wouldn't it be meant?
So this goes to prove my point, and this is what I told Coach too. This proves my point that men are nasty. That's all y'all want. Because the thing of it is, you will say anything. Just I'm not gonna take the chance to tell her nothing. Because I want to get the cookies. Bottom line, I want to get the cookies. So I'm not gonna be upfront with her. I am gonna tell her this so I can get the cookies. That's what y'all gonna do.
Yeah, that's more than likely what we are going to do.
It's all about that third head.
Yeah. Okay. We're not finished with this conversation, but you know what? Our first guest is on the line, Miss Velma Trayham. She's an award-winning marketing consultant, speaker, and author. She's the author of the book When God Says Go: Turn Your Storms into an Unshakable Relationship with God, Leaving It All Behind. When God Says Go is a book that speaks to everyone, everywhere, regardless of where they are or what they have experienced. Trayham's book is a tour de force of faith and understanding of the human condition. So please help me welcome to the show, Miss Velma Trayham. How are you doing, ma'am?
Hi, I'm great. And yourself?
We're doing very well. We were in a heated discussion, I'm sorry. But thank you so much for coming on the show. Let's just get right to it. When your book, When God Says Go, what inspired you to write this book, and what's the story behind you choosing that title for the book?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I considered is that when I developed a close relationship with God, it inspired me to write When God Says Go when I was led by the Spirit of God to leave my hometown, Houston, Texas, to relocate and just leave everything that I built behind and to start a new life. And so I was given the name by the Spirit of God, When God Says Go.
Okay.
You were quoted in saying God often used our deepest pains as a launching pad for our greatest calling. How was this being proven true in your life?
I went through a divorce in 2015, and I was at a point in my life when I had everything that you can ever think of, and I wasn't a humble person, and God began to take things from me and to remind me that what I'm given, what I'm gifted with is not just for me, but it is to be of purpose to other people. So when God put me in a situation, when I put myself in a situation when I thought that I was accomplishing everything on my own, and God began to show me, of course, those things was very hurtful. It's hurtful to lose everything. It's hurtful to go through a divorce. It's hurtful to have people betray you. So all of those things are very hurtful, but it wasn't, it was in the midst of those pains, in the midst of those trials that I began to realize that God had a greater calling. So oftentimes when trouble strikes and we go through adversity and things in life, we think that, it's meant to keep us down or to, keep us in bondage, but it's really there to shape us and to help us to grow through the obstacles that we go through.
That's true. That's usually when most of the shaping and the growth happens, when we go through those fiery
yes,
situations.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Velma, how are you? This is Paula. How are you?
Hi, Paula. I'm great, and yourself?
I'm doing well. Question for you. Do you think church has lost its zeal because it's more like a business than a place to find peace and really hear from God?
I absolutely do think that. And for me, it's relatively hard for me to say that. And it's because I work with churches. On my marketing and PR company, we help churches with their internal infrastructure and things like that. But one of the most important things that I believe that is missed in the church is the authenticity and the transparency. People are not coming to church because they feel like they have to be perfect to go, because it appears that most people in the churches are perfect, and in fact, those are the worst ones and need more help than the people that aren't in church. So the realistic thing is, and this is something that I pray about every single day, I believe that there needs to be more people that are transparent. The leaders and the pastors should begin to not go to church to be served, because Jesus wasn't here to be served. Jesus was a server. He served people. So when you look at a lot of these pastors having armor bearers and security people with them and stuff like that, no, that's not welcoming, and it's not it's not giving the people that really need to be healed that sense of, I'm here for you, that sense of the church is the body of Christ. The church is a place for hurting people, and we are all hurting, but because they have a facade, people don't want to get into that. People don't want to go in there, and a lot of times people have, been hurt. A lot of things I'm seeing are happening within the church. So I just think that the leaders need to become more transparent and authentic, and stop wanting to be served and put on high pedestals, and know that you're there. You're a messenger for Christ, and that's all you are.
Good word.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. This is Will again. So in your book, you speak of how people can handle negative, self-defeating thoughts. What are your tips for people?
Yep. The biggest tip is, when those negative thoughts come to our mind, we automatically have to be aware where they come from. They come from the enemy, and a lot of the thoughts that come to our mind aren't true. It's what the enemy plants in our mind to keep us from moving forward, to keep us in bondage, so that we're fearful to move forward, so that we're fearful. We start to assume this person feels like this about us, or assume that if I do this, then I won't be successful. So those are all tricks of the enemy to have us thinking things that are not true. So immediately when those thoughts begin to come into my mind, I block them automatically. I say, I rebuke you, Satan, in the name of Jesus. That's one thing that I do. The second thing that I do when those thoughts begin to come to my mind, I change the channel. It's like if you're looking at a television and you see something you don't want to see or hear, then you hurry up and change the channel, so that way you don't give it time. You don't give that content time to seep down into your spirit. You don't want to give yourself time to even meditate and ponder on it. And a lot of times when those thoughts come to our mind, we begin to ponder on those thoughts. So I would say change the channel immediately and begin to rebuke it, because 99% of the time, those thoughts are not true at all.
So what do you focus? When you say change the channel, you're speaking, you refocus your mind.
Refocus your mind to begin to think, you can do it, or to begin to think, an optimistic side. If the devil is saying, oh, you can't do it, or you can, or you're going to fail, then you begin to say to yourself, no, I am more than a conqueror. Oh, I can do all things through Christ. And so that's what I begin to refocus my mind and my thoughts on. And I begin to speak things, because you got to speak those things as though they are, even though they're not. And that's all a part of, walking by faith. So just refocusing and pivoting those thoughts.
Exactly.
Okay, this is Justin. Was it hard to surrender to God's will?
Oh my God, it really was. It really was hard to surrender. And oftentimes, it's hard for anybody to surrender, because our flesh is all we know is our flesh. So to allow something or a spirit that we've never physically met or physically been able to see is a very, very hard thing. So what happened was I basically had to come to the end of myself. When I say the end of myself, we go around in circles and we fail and things happen to us, and we just feel like, okay, why are these things happening? And ultimately they're happening because we didn't create us. The God created us, and only God knows the plan that He has for our life. And so when things aren't going well, we began I began to say, okay, I'm just tired of this. And so I said, okay, let me surrender. And when I surrendered, it got even worse, because that's when I had my car accident. When the Spirit of God told me to leave, I left. And then 4 weeks into being in Atlanta, I had a car crash that should have killed me. And then I began to really question. I'm like, okay, now I surrender, and then now this. And so then I began to see that God really, really wanted me to just surrender, let go, and just start all over. And that's basically, the logistics of it. But it is hard to surrender. But once you get it, then you'll begin to see the things manifesting in your life.
Okay. Yeah, we just had a listener who commented. She said most people have not tapped into what God has called them to be, so they live below their privileges. God has great plans.
Oh, that is absolutely true. And people don't have a real relationship with God. That's the most important thing, is that you have to have a real relationship with God in order to hear him, because a lot of people think that they hear him. Oh, God told me to start this business, and then the business failed. Well, God didn't tell you that from the beginning. You have to be in tune. You really have to be in tune with the Spirit of God. Have a relationship. Spend time with God. Meditate, pray, read your Bible, and those type of things. That's how you really develop a relationship with God. It's not like, I'm going to ask God for this. If God don't give it to me, then I don't have a relationship. No, you trust and believe in God, even when things are going bad. And then when God began to see your faith and your walk, then he began to add those other things unto you.
Okay. So that was a great segue to my question. And my question is, why is it so hard to trust God when things are not going right in your life?
Well, because, automatically in the flesh, when things aren't going right, at the present moment, we begin to just feel discouraged. We feel let down. When bad things happen to us, we don't see the end of the picture. We only see what we're going through right then and there. That's one of the biggest things. When I was going through all of what I was going through, I didn't see where I am today. I had no clue that, I would now have a real estate investing company, be on book tours, have a top marketing and PR. I didn't see when I was going through all of those things that to be where I am today. And so I just encourage people to know that if you are going through the storm, if you are going through it, don't just go through it, but you have to grow through it. There is positive. There is something positive in the midst of every single storm. But if you would just ask God, what is in this? God will begin to show you, because even though I was going through those things, I began to see things that God was showing me, even though it was hurtful at the time. And we have to sacrifice. So then I began to say, you know what? I've spent half of my life doing everything that I wanted to do, that Velma wanted to do. Now it's time. Everybody else had used me. Now it's time that I allow God to use me. And then that's how I began to focus and just, surrender, let go. And even in the midst of the storm, I stood on the verses in the Bible. When you talk about when God sent Moses, and all of those stories and things of that sort, they stood on faith, and they knew that they were going to go through hell. And in life, we got to go through hell. Jesus had to carry his own cross. They talked about him, they nailed him, and they, persecuted him, they slandered him. And so the thing is this: if they did all of that to him, then what will these people do to us? And so you have to just fix your mind on, I am an overcomer, and then believe in it. Stand and walk tall regardless of what you're going through. Keep your head up high, period.
Well said.
I have seen many, many, many years people pray and, just been so faithful to the church and to God. And their life has never changed. They still are going through, but they still, when is it going to happen for them? That's my question. when is it going to happen? But I think that's why I have been so discouraged, because I have prayed for many things, for healing, all kinds of stuff, and just believed in it and never seen anything manifest, which is very discouraging. I mean, even so much so when it came to my sister, you know what I mean? It's just, when does it happen? Is it ever going to happen? Are we just, I've seen people pray for things, and I've never seen a change. And they're still praying to this day. And that's discouraging to me, because when am I going to see it? Is it ever going to happen? I mean, I pray for the whole world. I pray for a lot of people, but I haven't seen any movement. So I question that.
That is a really, really great question. And there are going to be there may be some people that may get a little upset about what I'm getting ready to say. But what I talk about is truth, and I don't talk about anything unless I've been able to get through it. This is what I will say. There are some leaders and pastors that are spiritually dead. When I say spiritually dead, meaning on Sunday they're in the pulpit preaching out of the same mouth that they've been doing whatever they do the other 6 days of the week, sinning and doing things that they have no business doing. And on Sunday, they may very well have the anointing of the Holy Spirit over them while they're giving the message. But the anointing flows from the top. And so if you have a spiritually dead leader and you are sowing and you're tithing and nothing is happening in your life, then you need to be questioned. You need to begin to question the place where you're planted, because we serve a God that works in an accelerated fashion. And when I pray for things, it happens. There are people in my life that have been going to church, and just as though what you've just said, when I began to pray with them and give them direction and instruction on what they need to do to begin to get what they're asking for, their life began to change in an instant. I believe that what is happening is people go to church, they tithe, and they sow seeds, and they feel good while they're there. There's a lot of praise and worship going on. There's a lot of entertainment, as I call it. And when you leave there, then the anointing is gone, because it's not planted in you. It's not growing. The anointing is not there. The spiritual anointing, the power of God is not there. There's a lot of people speaking in tongues and a lot of this, but that doesn't mean this person has power. The devil is doing all of that. So we have to ask God for discernment and for wisdom. And we have to know, hey, if the Bible tells us that, give and it shall be given to you, pressed down, shaken together, and overflowing, and that's not happening, then the Bible is not a book that it shall lie. So you have to begin to question, where am I planted? What ground am I sowing on? And that's been the problem for a long time. I say, you know what? Why are a lot of Christian people broke? That's not the riches and the wealth that God promises us. That's not the promised land. That's not the land overflowing in milk and honey. But what's happening is the pastors are giving us enough to fluff us up with what we need right then and there, but there is no power, no direction. And what are the next steps? What do I need to do to overcome this? What do I need to do to be successful? They don't know.
True. That's true. But let me just comment real quick. Just to piggyback from my own personal experience, I've had to learn that a lot of times most of the times in the Bible, there are conditions. God says, if you do this, then I'll do that. So sometimes we treat God like he's a Santa Claus, and we all only come to him when we want things. And it's almost like their friend who you only see whenever they want something. So sometimes we don't get answered prayer because of our relationship or our lack of a relationship.
But I mean, you're supposed to go to him. I mean,
not just when you want anything.
No, not just when you want for anything, but for everything. But okay, my question is, and I don't know how this is going to come across, is that why do I have to tithe?
Because he says so.
Okay, but But why? I should be able to go to God and just pour my heart out and ask for, because he knows us. So you know me, you know my heart. You know what type of person I am. You know I'm a giving person. I don't want to tithe, but I want your love and understanding, and I want you to help me. So you're saying that you're not going to help me because I'm not doing this? What are you saying?
Definitely not asking me, because I'm new to religion. So
that's really a great question. And here's what I'd say. There's a time for everything, and we believe that we deserve what we deserve whenever we ask for it. But just to keep it real, we really don't. God provides for us. We have a roof over our head. We have cars to drive. We have food to eat. We have clothes on our back. Our children are healthy. We're healthy. And so we ask for things, and I ask for things, and I'll continue to ask for things. But here's what I believe. Here's what I believe. God also wants us to love one another. God also wants us to put our brothers and sisters before us, put our neighbors before ourselves. God also wants us to be a certain way. And if you're asking, if I don't do this, does that mean that God isn't going to do anything for me? Well, in the beginning of time, Exodus give us 10 commandments in which God asked us to follow. And so a lot of us aren't doing a lot of what we should be doing.
True.
Now, is that a reason for us to be, in poverty? I don't believe that is the case. But here is the thing. We have generational curses, okay? We have generational strongholds and curses. My mother was a drug addict up until 16 years ago. My baby sister was born with crack in her system. And one of the things I had to realize is that my mother, my mother's mother, my mother's mother's mother, and the generations before that was the same cycle. It was the same cycle: poverty, adversity, drugs, And so then I began to ask God, and then God began to show me that it's a generational curse, and people don't really believe in that. But in order to break that generational curse, God has to break that generational curse. God has to begin to create in you a new heart so that you can begin to see things the way that he does, so that you can begin to act in a mannerism and receive the things that he actually has for you. The reason that we don't get what we should get is because we live by our own specs. We live by our own wisdom. And the Bible tells us that our wisdom is of a fool. We're sheep. And a sheep will walk right out in the middle of the street and get ran over by a car if the shepherd is not leading the sheep. And so if we are sheep, and I hate to think that I'm stupid because I think I know it all. I'd like to say I know it all. But we don't know it all. Our wisdom is not the wisdom that will get us where we want to be. So we really have to pray and say, hey, I surrender, break every stronghold, break the generational curses, and give me the wisdom, knowledge, and the discernment that you have for me. Remove the veils off of my eyes so that I can begin to see things from your eyes and not what I know.
All right. That's a good answer. All right, so let's switch focus a little bit. So when I was researching information for the interview, I saw that you and I guess your fiance were named Couple of the Year.
Yes, we were. Yes, by Millionaires Matchmakers in Houston, Texas. Yes, we were.
Right. So I have a question. So the Bible really does not directly give any type of guidelines on dating or anything like that. Can you give tips on people who both people who are in the faith who want to know how they too can, qualify to be Couple of the Year? What are your guidelines on dating?
This gonna sound crazy, but I'm just telling you the way that it has to be.
Real talk.
Keep your legs closed, ladies. Okay.
Lord.
The legs need to stay closed. Okay. When my fiance and I even met, and I'll be the first to tell you, he was a guy that was, that liked to go to the strip club, liked to drink, and liked to just do things, you know. And I said, God, this ain't the person for me. This is not the person for me. I just don't think this ain't for me. So what happened was, in the very, very early stages of our relationship, he was on probation. And when he went and reported, it was something that came up from, you know, years and years ago. And so they ended up keeping him for 5 months. During that 5 months, and mind you that I just met him, so I'm like, okay, I don't really know him like that. So, you know, he's trouble. I can't do this. I am not coming to Atlanta to deal with this. So God began to tell me that you need to send him some Bibles, you need to send him some books, and you need to be there to minister to him. God began to tell me that you're not off the hook, Velma. Just because I told you to leave Houston and now you think you got it together, no, you don't. The party is just beginning. And so I said, really? And these are the conversations I have, like, really? You know, because I can really hear God clearly. And so I began to send him books and stuff. And so when he was released, he wasn't the same person. And when he was released, I was firm. I said, listen, I'm not having sex until I'm married. You know, I'm just not doing any of that. I'm not going out to the clubs. I'm not going out to strip clubs. I'm not doing any of that, you know. And so he began to understand that. He didn't understand it quite at first. He just thought I was somewhere like, come on now, who ain't going to have sex? I said, I'm not going to have sex. That's who ain't going to have sex.
Those were your values, right?
I'm not. Yeah, so I stood my ground. And so what I want to say is, stand your ground.
Yeah.
Respect yourself. Dress for success.
There you go.
Don't dress like
have
the
your
way
girls
you don't
out.
want to be treated.
Right.
You don't
Exactly.
have to show
That's exactly
everything.
what I was saying.
You don't have to show everything. Like, I'm going to tell you, I'm a real shapely girl, and I get more attention with all of my clothes on. You don't have to show what you got on. It's enough people doing that. So how are you going to differentiate yourself from doing what everybody else doing?
You're hired.
Respect yourself. Don't do it.
I believe that's
Stand
true.
your ground. Stand your ground, and then you gotta not work. A lot of women will say, "Well, I'm scared he might leave if I do the." Guess what? If he gonna leave, he gonna leave anyway.
Exactly.
Girl, stand your ground.
Exactly.
Don't, if he leave, good. You know, it's like a numbers game. When a man tells, "Oh," when you tell him, "Oh, I'm not having sex till I'm married," guess what? That's gonna run a lot of them off. Anyway, but if you run them off, that's because they weren't meant to be there. God has something better for you.
Oh my gosh. You know, I wish we had more time, but we're going to have to definitely bring you back on. Real quickly, I want you to share how people can get a copy of your book and definitely follow you.
Oh, absolutely. The book is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, and also on my website, which is velmatrayham.com. I'm actually touring a lot. People bring me to different conferences, so I'm around. And so on Facebook, I am Velma Trayham, and on Instagram and Twitter, I'm Velma_Trayham. That's Trayham.
All right. Just want to let you know that you have a lot of new followers and admirers on our social media.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, and team, and the radio. I appreciate you guys, and you guys keep up the great work too.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
It was nice talking to you.
Bye-bye.
Likewise. Bye-bye.
All right. You know what? Our next guest is already on the line. Yeah. Yes. So, she was good, was she not?
She was very good.
You seem like you're going to have a lot that you want to talk about after this next interview.
Absolutely.
Correct?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, he just hung up. He'll call right back. But she was good.
She was
Were
very
there some
good.
things that you disagree with?
Yeah.
Well, again, like I said, it's always on us.
On the women.
It's always on the women.
Okay,
It's
just
always,
hold that point. I just want you to meditate on that for a while. But our next guest is
I need a drink.
our next guest is Mr. Vernon Brown. He is located in Richmond, Virginia. Vernon Brown is the owner and the founder of What's Your Happi LLC. It's a hands-on happiness coaching practice designed around the individual's true happiness. He is the happiness and success coach. His primary aim is to help anyone in getting his or her life back on track. So please help me welcome to the show Mr. Vernon Brown. Welcome to the show, sir.
Oh, awesome. Thank you for having me here.
No problem. No, we've tried to get you on a couple times, but we're so glad that you were able to get through. I want to just start with this question right here. What is a happiness coach?
You know, that's a world-class question. I get that often. You know, by my definition is I am an architect. I'm not an archaeologist. It's not about finding out when things went south or why things happened, but it's about coming up with a plan and creating a plan and sticking to the plan of what we're going to do about it.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that happiness is not the vehicle, but is the battery that powers the vehicle.
Okay. All right.
Okay. How are you?
I'm good. And yourself?
Paula. I'm doing well.
Is this Nikki?
My name is Paula.
Nikki's here, though.
Paula. So sorry. Apologies.
Yeah, Nikki is here, though.
She says hello.
Okay. All right, well, I'm Nikki and hello, Paula. How are you?
I'm doing well, and I'm extremely happy most of the time, right?
Most of the time,
Most of the time, yes.
Well, I dig it. That's great.
Yes, love is my favorite word, and I love being happy. What type of clients are you looking to work with?
So, for me, it's about 35 plus. There's a particular type of thinking that you need at that age that you just don't need prior to that. I'm looking for people who are really ready to take their life to the next level, who are really ready to use every single skill, gift, and ability that they have.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and this is a question for you guys. Are you using everything that you have right now to be successful?
No.
No.
Yeah, and that's what it's about. Like, hey, what can I do to get myself to the next level?
Mm-hmm.
It's, I'm not trying to be long-winded here, but it's about realizing what has got you to a certain level of success is what will get you into the way, what will get in the way of getting you to that next level, because you don't need that skill set anymore. So more often than not, about 35 plus, it kicks in, and that's what kind of kicks us, kick us down and keep us down if we let it.
That was a good point.
Yeah, that was very good. I like that. That's the
So at what
thought.
point? So how do you gauge when it's time to I guess employ that new skill set that you said is going to get you to the next level?
It's a funny thing, and this is something you can even apply to yourself. If you keep seeing the same circumstances surrounding the problem, that is a pretty big indicator that, hey, maybe I need to do something different and find an answer that, and talk to someone who does not have a stake in my future.
Okay.
And to see if they can point it out.
Okay. All right, gotcha.
That's good. My name is Justin. Do you always have the same approach with each client?
Jeff, nice to meet you. It's different, and I let every single person know, and I guess when I give speeches often, if you talk to 10 of my clients, all 10 of them will say I have a different approach. It's because you have to engage people where they are, and we all do not think the same way. And if you don't approach a person who might be a bit more, critical with that same type of style, you could actually be, hurting a person. You could actually be doing more damage. You could actually be infuriating them. So I'm always using different ways of thinking when I'm with the different clients.
Okay. So you have, back when I was researching, trying to come up with information and asking you to be on the show, you actually have an interesting backstory about when you were a child, about what led you to becoming a happiness coach. What can you share with us about that?
Well, it's a funny thing. This is probably my number 3 question I get asked. So from about when I was born to I will say 20, happiness was this concept. It was never really an emotion. I'm not saying that I didn't smile, but it was something that I felt as fast as I would get it, I would lose it immediately. It would be like you got $1 million, and all of a sudden someone would say, to equate it to this, you got $1 million, and they say, well, guess what? The taxes are $999,099. It was nothing that was really concrete and stable in my life. And so from that circumstance, I almost made some decisions that would have benefited me. You take a kid, from birth to 20 who just didn't have a lot. You get bullied. You get made fun of. You were just an odd duck. I was 5'10" in school. I mean, I had the overgrown hairline. I went to my eyebrows. I was just an odd guy. And, and from that, once I kind of grew out of that, which I literally did, I went from 5'10" to 6'4" when I was 20. Once I kind of got out of that, I said, I want to do something different. And I want to, have more fun in my life and have some adventure. So I went after everything possible. I started school with the kinetic imagery, AKA animation. Right. And from there, I said, look, I wanted to know why people do the things they do. And so I, switched it over to psychology. Mm-hmm. And when I got done with school, I wanted to do things that didn't label people. I'm not a fan of the diagnostic language. Even when I meet with clients, no labels. You are a human being, and you're capable of, many things outside of whatever the diagnosis is. True. But, I just went into action. I spent some time traveling, and when I got done traveling, I said, hey, I want to be in control of my own destiny, and I don't want to make other people money. And so, bam, I got with a mentor and coach. I'm a fanatic of having a mentor and coach. Everyone should have one. I have two, and at that particular time, my mentor said, you really should consider coaching. And I was 30 at the time, and I'm like, shut up, old man. But him being a great mentor that he is, he pushed me, and I really sat back and I said, hey, I'm not old enough. And he said, Vernon, you can live many lives before. And so that's when I was like, all right, let's go. So that's how I kind of got started off.
All right.
All right. My question for you is, how do you keep your happy? How do you keep it?
Good question.
Oh, this is a question for everybody in this room. Do you all have it scheduled on your calendar?
Do we have?
Are you intentional about scheduling happiness with yourself on your calendar?
No.
No.
It's a funny thing. We have calendars for our bills. Mm-hmm. We have calendars for our work, but we do not have calendars for our happiness.
That's interesting.
I'm not asking you to take an entire day. I'm saying, hey, take 30 minutes. If your definition of happy is walking in the park, schedule it. We all have a different definition of happiness. What's your happy? And if you don't find out what makes you happy and schedule it often, you will buy things you don't want to buy because you will be, quote, quote, fulfilled. You will do things you really don't want to do because you're seeking it without even realizing it.
True.
But for me, I schedule it, and I stick to it no matter what. It's a funny thing. I've seen it time and time again over the years. And whenever people, whatever their circumstances may be, they're not doing the things that make them happy.
I get that.
I do. I like that.
So we have a schedule our happiness.
What is a little known facts about working with you?
I'm very intense. Very intense. I'm big on the first, because I have 12 sessions to get it done. 3 months. The first 4 sessions, you do not like me. You will not. And I'm not mean. I just ask questions. The questions that make you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
The questions that no one else will ask you because they think they're hurting you.
Mm-hmm.
When it's not hurting for you to think. I make you think.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the second 4 weeks, you get mad at yourself because it's been right there the whole time, but you were too busy saying you don't know, and I don't know. And you're like, oh my gosh, it's been right here the whole time. And the fourth 4 weeks, it's about, all right, let's keep this going. How can I manage this? So it's the literal fact is the first 4 weeks can be a bit intense. Not mean, but I make you think.
Okay. So you're like Nikki. That's pretty much how Nikki. When I first met her, I didn't like her for a while, but then she asked those those tough questions. Yeah, exactly. So Vernon,
Nikki's got a different story though.
What? What's different? Maybe you know something I don't know.
Nikki's got a different style of communication. She likes to understand.
Okay, that's true.
That's good.
That's true. You don't like to understand, Vernon? Sir, you don't like to understand?
Oh, I do like to understand. So I can get into a whole. I will literally just give an hour speech about communication styles. Mm-hmm. So some people have a communication style where they want to understand the ins and outs of it. Mm-hmm. And some people, because they want to probe, they want to see, because they need to intuit, they see it in their mind so they can kind of grasp it. Like I'm a big understanding person. Big, and I'm curious. Mm-hmm. But I think a lot of people to some degree do like to understand. And I'm not picking on it, I'm just knowing that communication style.
Okay, all right. So when it comes to people changing, where do most people put their energy that prohibits that change?
What's wrong? That's the first question. First thing. They always put into what's wrong. What's wrong thinking is what gets 99% of people stuck.
What do you mean?
If a person, with the what's wrong perspective, let's just say I want to apply for this new job. Mm-hmm. Most people, they put their energy into what could go wrong.
Oh, yeah.
That's me. What they don't have.
Yeah.
And what's wrong thinking trips most people up.
Okay.
Because you're taught to think what's wrong in school. You're taught to think what's wrong in life. And that's not, you don't need that type of thinking after you turn, 28, 30 years old.
So your suggestion is to what? Not put, because when you come into a job, what if I'm not qualified? What if I don't have the all the experience that they require? Not necessarily what it takes,
learn.
but I think you said learn?
Most people think they think about what the roadblocks are versus what the options, opportunities, possibilities, and solutions.
Mm-hmm.
I've coached so many clients who said they don't qualify for the job and they get the job because they looked at different ways to win. There's more than one singular way of approaching things.
Okay.
The more creative you are, which is the most awesome, most awesome way of being, because you get really creative. You get like, how can I make this work? If I have no other choice, make it work.
Gotcha.
So you're just saying just take the bull by the horn and just go for it. Don't be afraid.
Yeah.
Just go for
every
it.
single time. And if you don't know, let's just say you can't grab the bull by the horns. You know where the bull is at. Figure it out.
Okay.
If you don't have the qualifications, but you have the personality, meet them somewhere. Accidentally, quote, quote, run into them. Let them know how eager you are. People are always looking, and this is just for job qualification, and this does not work for every circumstance. I want to throw that out there, but look for ways to win versus for looking ways why it won't.
Okay.
Change your
I like
mindset.
that. Yeah, I like that. Mm-hmm. Look for ways to win. I have to write that down.
Look for ways to win. Okay. All right.
We don't think enough, and that's why it's important when people are with me. The first month is tough because I make you think. You have thought to yourself that you don't know. You have thought to yourself that I don't have enough. If I say you can't say I don't know, you'd be amazed what solutions you find in 10 to 15 minutes. I never thought about it that way. Mm-hmm. Of course not. You never wanted to. You kept saying I don't know.
Exactly. Okay.
Okay, next question. What's on the horizon for what's happening?
What's your happy? Yeah.
So on the horizon for what you're happy is, I'm going to start doing, starting next year, I'm doing happiness workshops, corporations and organizations, so they can get the most out of their employees, so they can get them thinking of more solutions versus why things aren't working. Another thing that's going to get started is I'm going to be kicking off some online, training and education for people so they can always access, happiness coaching, happiness trainer online. And that's going to be something that's going to come to the latter part of 2018.
Okay. So my final question for you is everything about happiness?
My first reaction to that is no, everything is not about happiness, but out of happiness, you can get more energy so you can see the options, opportunities, possibilities, and solutions. When you see all four of those, the options, opportunities, possibilities, and solutions, you might not be happy, but you will become very resourceful, and you will become very, you become very resourceful, because that's what gets people, another reason why people get stuck, because they can't see a way out.
Okay. All right. So how can people, because you're located right here in our area, Richmond, how can people get in contact with you? How can they follow you and see about working with you?
Okay, thank you for that. It's whatsyourhappy.com, and it's happy with an I. It's not happy with a Y.
Okay. Awesome.
There's also my email. It's Vernon, VERNON, at whatsyourhappy.com.
Okay.
And if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's What's Your Happy. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/What's Your Happy. And I post questions there bi-weekly.
Awesome. Well, Vernon, man, thank you so much for coming on the show. You taught us a lot.
Yes,
Open our eyes to a lot of things.
We're definitely going to get that happy calendar.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. We got to mark it. Right.
Guys,
So it's
thank you for
intentional.
for making this happen.
Exactly. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. You have a great evening.
You too.
too.
Bye-bye.
Definitely going to go get that happy calendar. I think that's
Or just
gonna
add
work
it to
well.
your calendar. Like it has to be intentional.
Yeah.
That's my new word. Everything has to be intentional. So, yeah, you can't just expect it to happen. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back to continue ganging up on you. All right? So you're listening to Let's Face It. We'll be right back.
You've been listening to Let's Face It with Will Strayhorn and friends. We'll be right back.
Okay, men, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. I know you won't. Because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
The odds of becoming a signed artist and having 4 #1 albums. 1 in 100 million. The odds of going on to win 7 Grammy Awards. 1 in 1.4 million. The odds of this performer having a child diagnosed with autism. 1 in 68. I'm Toni Braxton, and I encourage you to learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Autism Speaks. It's time to listen. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her?
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve. Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
I wanna leave my footprints on the sands of time. Leave something to remember so they won't forget I was here.
Former club members Denzel Washington and Jennifer Lopez for the Boys and Girls Clubs.
Every child follows a path in life. For many, that path will lead them to a door that gives them a place to grow, to learn, to belong, a place to forge their future. For 100 years, the Boys and Girls Clubs have opened this door for America's youth.
You can change a child's future. Support your local Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures start here.
To learn how you can support your local Boys and Girls Clubs, visit greatfutures.org.
I don't need my glasses.
You're now listening to Let's Face It with Will Strayhorn and friends. Now back to the show.
Welcome back to Let's Face It. We're in the studio. We're trying to calm Paula down.
Calm me down.
Calm you down.
Yeah.
Did you learn anything from our 2 guests?
I did. I
Keep your legs closed. That's what women need to do. That was my biggest takeaway.
When she said that,
she said,
I was,
keep your legs closed.
Yeah, I was a little
you don't need to
annoyed
show
about
everything. There's enough people doing that.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that God sent her to reinforce what I was trying to teach you.
You were doing the most right now, just to piss me off.
that was good. That was good.
I think that's so cliche, though.
Why?
It's 2017. We know that we want to keep our legs closed if that's something that we decide to do. But if that's something that we don't want to do, women are not going to do that. And we're going to dress the way we feel. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean that just because you look, like I said, I don't want to be redundant. Mm-hmm. But the thing of it is, no, you don't have, we've always been told you don't have to show everything.
Right.
You know what I mean? Let them have, and it's all about the man again. You don't have to show everything. Let them use their imagination. I don't want you to use your imagination because I want to dress the way I want to dress.
Well, then you shouldn't be surprised when you get what you get.
But it's all about the man. It's all about them.
Don't
do this because of him.
On behalf of men everywhere, you need a big hug.
I don't need no damn hug.
You need a big hug.
Y'all just let it.
I think that's what it is.
Let it do what it do, and because the point that I'm saying is correct. Because everything is is geared towards the man. If you do this, you're not gonna get this. You're not gonna get a man. If you do that, you'll get a man. If you do this, you'll get this type of man. If you do that, it's all about getting a man. Women don't live their lives to get a man anymore because they're self-sufficient. They can do their own thing. You know what I mean? They don't need a man to complete them. That's what I'm talking about, and that's where the change comes in. Why are you looking over there?
No, I thought I saw the phone ring.
Oh, okay. Well,
okay. Is it audible when it rings or no?
It's not audible. No.
Okay.
I hope somebody does call in about what I
No,
said.
it looked like it was flashing.
Oh.
Was it?
Gary. Yeah.
Somebody did?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are they're not up there?
It was like a minute ago. You probably
just call back.
You saw it.
Yeah,
just call back.
Call back. Yeah. Sorry we missed it, but you need some help.
Why do I need help?
I'm just saying some women need to call in because I don't understand. What frustrates me about some people when I talk to them is why they can't understand the obvious. If you dress that way, you're going to get that type of attention. You're trying to prove to me that you should be able to dress that way and men should just leave you alone. But you're presenting all your girls out. You want to wear the tight jeans.
No, I don't. I mean, I'm not saying about the. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But you want to present yourself a certain way, marketing yourself a certain way, knowing that the male psyche, anybody's psyche. I mean, women look at you and probably perceive the same thing, that you're a woman after a particular goal. So you're trying to tell me that
I feel confident because I want to have my girls out. I mean, I went on I bought this dress which is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
It was blue and white, and I wore it on the boat, but it was cut down here and cut this way. But yes, and my girls are out, but I felt very confident. It's just about being confident in yourself. Now, if you happen to look at me and be envious because I feel confident, that's your problem. I don't care what you think because you, first of all, number one, you didn't spend a copper penny on what I purchased.
Can I raise a question?
Can you please?
On the opposite side of that, we have so many relationship experts and matchmakers saying that women don't get the attention from a man because of the way they dress, because they don't look like they are not looking for a man, but they're not being attractive.
But who's saying
looking the part of that? They want to be swept.
But what I'm saying is that what is it? Where is it written that we want to get a man's attention? Why can't we just dress? Why it has to be? This is my whole point. Why is it all about the man? Who says that I'm dressing for a man? I'm not. I'm dressing for myself.
Honestly,
that's
aside from trying to prove a point that you're not proving very well, can you honestly say that for your own confidence sake, you would choose to go out in public or to a club or to an event, wherever in public, in mixed company, with something fitted, with your girls hanging out? This is how you want to show your confidence. And you're not trying to get attention from anybody else.
Exactly. Because
I just can't believe that. You must have low self-esteem.
I do not have low self-esteem.
I'm not saying you. I'm just saying the person must have low self-esteem.
You have to. No, what I'm saying is that you can have your dress sexy and classy and have your girls out and with a tight jeans.
Define girls out. Because when I'm saying, maybe I'm seeing the wrong thing.
Yeah,
I'm
maybe
spilling over the top.
Yeah, no,
you're talking about the little peekaboo hole and maybe cleavage.
Cut, cleavage, that's what I'm talking about. But what I'm saying is, again, it's all about a woman. This is the point. It's all about a woman dressing for a man. Why can't she just dress for herself?
You can.
I don't care how you see me, but I'm dressing for myself because that is your imagination. That is your truth, and I can't control it. I can only control what I do and what I want and what's going to make me feel good. That's my point.
Okay. All right. We know we have a guest on the call. This is, let's face it, caller, you're on the air. How can I help you?
I was just checking out your show online.
Thank you.
And I was listening to one of the young ladies talking about, can she overpower a man 6'4"? Don't they know there's more ways to overpower a man than just physically? Mentally, she can overpower that man.
Okay.
And will that still be considered sexual assault?
Okay, you would need to break that down for me.
Please answer.
Yeah, no, he needs to break that down. I mean,
okay. How you want me to break it down? Because this is the situation.
Okay, yeah.
If
tell me.
You say you can't overpower a man to 6'4".
Yeah, we're talking about sex. Go ahead.
Mentally, you can overpower a man, and Because if it's something that you want sex, you can overpower him mentally. Because maybe he's not on that level that you want. And you outpower him with your mind. Would that still be assault?
No, because I still not understanding your concept of saying that we can overpower a man mentally. Are you saying that a man is weak? Which I always say anyway, is that men are weak when it comes to sex and women anyway, because they can't control themselves. But some men tell me that I'm incorrect because we can't control themselves. So what are you saying?
Maybe he is weak because he can't control himself.
Okay, that don't have anything to do with me, because now you're
not saying. But if you get sex from him, maybe you use your mind over him and got sex. Just like he may use, however you say, he may assaulted you by saying something or continuously saying something, and you telling him no, and that you're not with that. It becomes assault. Is it the same way when you using your mind over him? All the time, sexual harassment is not always physical.
Okay, I get that. I get that part. All right.
I don't agree, but I get it.
We get it. We get it. Call it. Yeah, thank you for calling in. We appreciate that.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Let's face it, caller, you're on the air.
Thank you.
I always say anyway. Is that
How can we help you?
are weak when it comes
This is Brenda Maury Kelly. I was calling in to respond.
Hey, Glenda, how are you?
Hey, Paula, how are you?
I'm doing well.
I'm looking at the live show.
Yes.
So where are you at in the live show?
Live. We're talking about. We were talking about. What was the last point we were talking about?
We were talking about. The guy that called in about women overpower. A woman can't overpower a man. And
that there are other ways to sexually harass people. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're saying that
physical.
We're saying that I can't physically sexually harass a man because they're much stronger than me. That's what we were talking about. And then when we're talking about dressing, what's appropriate, what's not appropriate.
Glenda Kelly would be the perfect person. So Paula's stance is that she should be able to wear her girls out, form-fitted and whatever, and she shouldn't attract the attention that men will give her by her marketing herself or her package.
I'm not marketing
like
myself.
this.
I'm not.
She should be able to do that.
Paula, slow down, Paula. I just have if you ever see me dressed, because I don't have that many girls, so, you know.
Yes, Glenda, you're so crazy.
I wasn't as blessed as you are, so I'm jealous, but I wouldn't, if I was blessed with all that you have, I would reserve that for the man that I have. Because, listen, God created us to be who we are, but yet there's some privacy within what He created us. And we have to place things in perspective because we have to realize that the mind and the id is out there racing. The desire is going to always be there because that's the intent. And so therefore, it's like lethal weapon when you go out there and you got all your girlies showing and you don't know the mindset of those who are within you. Because we all are one, all of us are one conviction for being in jail for 4 years. That's the way criminal justice is set up. And the mind. And you don't know what the mind is of those who are out there while you're flashing those boobs. And so that may be, and I let you know there, during the time when I was in Virginia State, one of the things they said, they always said the Q's like the titties and the capitals like the thighs, or it might be reversal. One thing about men, let me talk about men.
Okay.
Okay. So if you know that, and Barbara Sierra put something on her Facebook page about something happened years ago in the in the television station. Well, this lady came in and she had, she didn't have not one bit of experience whatsoever. But he's like what he saw, and he hired her. That was a form of her sexual harassment because she was harassed the whole time she was there. She got what she got because she knew the motive for which she was being hired.
That's exactly
so therefore, we have to be restrained, just like the Bible says that if you know that the person who you're sitting beside is an alcoholic, why would you put a bottle of Courvoisier beside him? He's going to drink it and get drunk. So that's
So
what we
once
cannot
again,
yield.
wait,
We have
Glenda,
to yield
Glenda.
ourselves to temptation.
Glenda,
listen,
wait, hold on,
I'm not
Glenda.
a
So
man.
what you're saying, but this is my point. My point is, because we're talking women, really women versus men, and a woman's freedom to do as she wants. But again, we are conditioned as women that we have to do certain things a certain way because of what a man may think or do. And
because we have to define the public. It's a public appearance. And what? I mean, it's a public appearance.
So when are you free to? Because this all started because we were watching this movie. She's Got to Have It. You got to watch it.
Right.
She's got to have it. Right, but it's a series. So we watched the series. So the new one. So this is how this all started because I was very impressed by what she went through when she wore this black dress, and people were trying to define her because of the dress, and she was like she wasn't having it, and she just wore it and felt they were uncomfortable in it, but she was comfortable in it
because it was her dress.
Boom! That's what I was saying. It was her dress.
Okay,
exactly.
But one thing is it's two different things of what is right and what is wrong. Everything that's good is not right, and when everything is not right, sometimes it's not good.
That's true.
We have to have a godly discernment if we say we're going to project ourselves as God-fearing women, as well as not knowing how or what seduction or being seductive is. And to me, all the boobs out is a form of seduction.
So seduction. So the bottom line is that pretty much everybody is telling me that seduction should be private and in the bedroom. That's the bottom line.
Well, you know, a man is always looking for a WHORE now. He's looking for that now.
No, we don't.
He wants you to be that in his bedroom.
Oh, in the bedroom, yeah. You ain't going home.
You can go in and you can put on your G-straps or whatever straps, and little kitty panties that go in your crack or whatever. But as long as they're in the room, that he can see it. Because let me tell you something.
Don't put it in the street.
I wore hot pants.
Did you?
Yes, sir. I was a hot pants woman. I was something else now.
Go ahead.
Until I met Peter J. Kelly. And when I met Peter J. Kelly, the dresses had to go down. He said, I don't want nobody to see what belonged to me.
Exactly.
And so what happens is that, see, I can't get into the spirit of the lesbian stuff. Like, I can't. Because what happens, and let me talk to you about that, and please understand. Now, Paula, you've been blessed. And, Nikki's been blessed. I haven't been blessed like that, okay? But sometimes men like little teeny ones, you know. It depends on how much they have. You know, this is a rated X conversation because we're talking about exposure.
Mm-hmm.
But we still have to look at the psychology of the mind of people who are out there.
Mm-hmm.
And the average person, you don't know what their psychology is. You don't understand their ideology. You may not understand the spirituality or the socialization and understanding what is culturally accepted.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean that's true. I mean, I understand your point. That's true,
mm-hmm.
And I'm going to
just
take heed to it. I'm gonna think about it. But Glenda, you've been great.
Yeah, thank you for calling in. Thank you, Glenda, and thanks for watching. And
God
listen.
bless you.
All right. So hopefully you're getting enough people who love you, who are trying to tell you to
love Glenda.
Cover those girls up.
Yes.
Okay, so you know what? I'm a part of this group on Facebook called Speak Out, and one of the guys posted this question, which I want to pose to you guys. It says, so the two of you meet on a social media website. It starts off as just a hookup. Both know each other is pretty much a whore, just, you know, a free spirit or whatever. Suddenly, having sex turns into dating, and dating becomes a relationship. Now, he starts cheating, and suddenly you bring up his past. Is he wrong for cheating, or are you wrong for knowing that he was a hoe too and got him anyway? What say ye?
What say you? What say you? Well,
comments. Okay.
All right, go ahead. She's going to do the comments first.
Is the comments to this one or the previous? Okay. What are you saying?
So what do we do? Oh, so you're saying that we started off just...
It was a hookup.
It was just a hookup. We were just supposed to slap and tickle, and that's it.
Slap and tickle.
That's it.
Okay.
Then we decided to date.
It led to
and then
we
decided to fall in love and have a relationship.
And then this person started doing what they... Because you
started,
both knew that you were out there. It was just supposed to be a hookup. And then somehow somebody caught feelings. You guys caught feelings or whatever.
So there was
caught
not...
Feelings.
So we both caught feelings.
Yeah.
So was there a conversation had... That's what I'm saying. That's what's going to be my point. Was there a conversation had when we caught these feelings?
Okay, so make your
So
point
if there was a conversation had that we caught these feelings and we decided...
So there needs to be a conversation.
Right, there needs to be a conversation. And if there's a conversation saying that we are in this to win it, we're going to have a monogamous relationship, and then he started cheating... Yes, there's going to be some problems. Okay. But if we
that slow music and
slow music and flower bringer, baby, all day long. You know, that's Paula B's motto. You know what I mean? It's all about the slow music and flower bringer. But if you cheated and we're supposed to be in this relationship, of course, there's just going to be some problems because once again, it's not necessary for you to cheat. You just need to just let me know what time it is, especially if we're not married. You understand what I'm saying? Because, you know, when you're just dating, you're not married. You have a commitment, but it's not a commitment to one another.
So your point is pretty much that you need to have that conversation.
You need to have the conversation.
Even though we both met on this premise.
Right.
That, you know, things, I'm assuming that things have changed and we shouldn't be doing that.
And we shouldn't be doing that because it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. Somebody's going to get hurt. Yeah. And that's my whole thing. As you get older, you get wiser. And I believe, hopefully, and I believe that when you're a certain age, there's certain things that you shouldn't do, especially if you've been in the dating game and you've been in relationships and you know what that hurt feels like. So I don't want to do anything that's going to hurt you. So I would rather just have the conversation.
Okay. You got anything to say to that, or are you gonna?
He's rolling his eyes at me.
I am on your side with this one.
Thank you.
I do think, no matter how you met, if you cut into a dating scene, but if you got feelings, you cut into a relationship, you need to be held for your consequences. No, you should not cheat at all.
Is it understood? Should you have a conversation?
Yeah, you should have a conversation.
Okay.
And then if you cheat, you just have to deal with the consequences. Whatever comes.
Whatever comes.
So what are you saying?
I think there needs to be a conversation. But I think it's just safe for me to say I think there needs to be a conversation. But you know, like I used to be like, if you meet wherever you meet a person, where's they gonna spend half their time? If you meet a person in the club 9 times out of 10, they're gonna spend a lot of time in the club. That's not always the situation.
That's not always true.
That's not always true. I don't agree with that.
If you meet somebody, you know, on the hookup chat line, whatever, they got the hookup chat line mentality.
People do change.
Yeah, people do change. There are situations where they change, but I'm just saying the average. What do you say?
Yeah, I totally agree. I've had a situation where hookups, they're not supposed to be relationships about it. That's how I feel. That's my perspective. Just because going into it, I just don't feel like the mindset is really there that I want to last longer. Right. So yeah, I'm kind of on y'all side. The conversation does need to happen, but yeah, just the hookups. I try to stay away from those in relationship wise.
You're such a good young man.
I'm
trying to watch the mistakes and learn from them.
Yeah, watch me. Yeah.
No, don't watch him.
I'm just saying learn from my mistakes.
Don't watch him. He will have your behind on the He have your behind on the struggle bus for real.
Okay, so this is another scenario. So Kevin and Casey just became a couple after 3 dates. They feel romantically connected to each other and they've already had sex. Kevin wants to bring Casey to his parents' house for Thanksgiving. This will be Casey's first time meeting Kevin's parents, although Kevin has yet to meet hers. Is Kevin bringing his new girlfriend to his parents' house too soon, or should Kevin wait? This was my situation, like, around this holiday. I was like, well, when is too soon to bring people around your family and stuff like that? After 3 dates, do you think that's too soon?
I mean,
to bring them home for the holidays?
I don't think so, because I'm just saying. I mean, once again, we're dealing with an adult, so I mean, you know how comfortable you are with this person, and if that's something that you want to do, because you can see that you're going to be spending quite a bit of time with this person, and you're trying to build a future with them. Absolutely, I don't think there's anything wrong with it, because what would happen? I mean, I would. Especially if they didn't have any place to go. I mean, I absolutely would invite them.
You would bring them home.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I don't see. Yeah, just.
Here come Paula. Here come Paula with them lost puppies.
I don't see there's anything wrong with that. I don't.
My only thing is if it's not in concrete that you guys are a couple,
right?
You could portray the wrong image if every time they turn around, somebody bringing home somebody different. Yeah.
I wouldn't do it.
You wouldn't do it?
Not on the third date.
Mm-hmm.
I got a big family.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a lot of questions being asked at the table.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't want them to come on the third day because it's definitely uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to have to pre-warn them.
Especially when you don't know a lot of the questions,
And
answers to the questions.
But wait a second. But what about people that meet for the first time and fall madly in love, and these people have been married for
they're like the
40
exception
and
to
50
the rule.
years. You know what I mean? What about that?
I've heard of those type of people.
Yeah, absolutely happens. And they bring them home to the family, and they say we fell in love.
Mm-hmm.
What is the saying? First sight.
Love at first sight.
Love at first sight. Love at first sight, and I want to bring you home to my family, and that has happened.
But normally when you do that, it's like your small immediate family. Like me, when we have Thanksgiving and stuff, my uncles and aunts from out of town come in and all of that. So you got great uncles and aunts and all of that at a table together. It can be overwhelming for that person knowing you got to sit at that table with all these people, and it ain't like 2 or 3 people that you meeting. You meeting a big family, so it can be overwhelming.
But me, I wouldn't mind it because because I love meeting people. So if you said, yeah, Paul, I want you to come over and meet my family, absolutely, I'm coming. You know what I mean? Because I want to meet everybody. I want to see, learn about your family, learn a little bit more about you.
But I think this is more if you're presenting them as your mate or your partner. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'd be cool with it.
You'd be cool with it? Anybody saying they'd be cool with it on air?
No.
If you guys want to comment on it, just call 757-683-4405. We have a few more minutes. Okay, so this question, another one of my situations, which I have. A woman on Facebook, her name is Issa Vibe. She posted a statement saying that men should not marry any woman unless he can afford, at minimum, a 3-carat ring valued at $3,500 or better. When I first read it, I was like, she's crazy. Mm-hmm. But when she explained it, I totally agree with her. And it kind of reminded me because I showed somebody a ring that I wanted. They were like, oh, my God. But I agree with this person, and that's why it's going to explain. Okay, here we go. It says, stop disrespecting these women and asking them to marry you with these 1-carat rings. If you cannot afford a ring, 3-carat or better, approximately $3,500, you cannot afford a wife. It's bigger than being materialistic. It's about being able to see with your third eye. It's about being able to read in between the lines. Marriage is a business. Whether y'all like it or not, Disney messed up y'all's heads with the happily ever after phrase. You cannot start a business without some type of financial backing. What can we do for each other? Question mark, question mark, question mark. If you don't have enough money to spend on inanimate objects such as a ring, you are not ready to be investing in a business like a marriage. Get back to the drawing board.
I don't agree with that.
You don't agree with it?
Heck no.
Why?
So you're saying that my whole relationship is based on a ring, and I'm in love with it?
You're taking out the point. You
What
need
is
to
the
be
point?
to a certain point in life. Like, would you marry somebody who is homeless on the streets, who haven't even gotten their situation together? Because they're relating the business that you need to be able to invest in, that you need to be to a certain point in life to invest in as the marriage. So if this person that you want to date is not even to the point, and I guess it depends on what your vision of what you want your life to look like, your mate. You need to be able to, at least to this certain point, the inanimate object here is the ring, which is $3,500. So if you can't even bring that to the table, then how are you going to be able to afford helping? And she said, what can we do for each other? How are you going to be able to help me build this empire of a marriage and then a family and our dreams and our goal if you can't even achieve the goal of the ring? What did they say?
We have a comment here. This is from our caller earlier that was Mr.
Beefing with me.
He's calling in from work.
Okay.
Calling in from work, so we don't get in trouble. He says that he doesn't agree with that
Okay.
scenario. He's a man.
Okay. Why does he say that?
I don't agree with that. Mr. Cooley, can you state as to why being animate object is going to be her? Okay, I'm not sure what that means, but he's saying that he doesn't agree, and I guess...
He said that an inanimate object is going to be her?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't agree because here again is that even if they are on the same playing field, where is the love and the unconditional love? It shouldn't matter if you could give me a $3,500 ring or you could give me a $1,500 ring, because at the end of the day, it's just about you and me. It's not about the ring and me.
So when you choose the person who, not just you, because you know you're the national spokesperson for women today. So women should only marry for love. You shouldn't be choosing somebody who can help provide for you, help build the goals.
I mean, the first time you get married, of course, you get married for love. You know what I mean? All the time you should get married. So
you're saying
you
should get married more than once?
No, hell no. I'm not saying that at all.
You just said
no, but I'm just because you just said to me. Go ahead.
Okay. He explains his statement here. He says yes, because first of all, a business, if you got a partner, you both got to bring to the table.
Exactly.
Bring something to the table, but as any real business, you start from the ground up. You build, and if you build together, it becomes a whole better business.
I agree with him.
I agree with
I understand that.
Yeah, I agree with him.
On the other side of that, some people equate the size of your ring to how much the man loves you. I've heard that before. I've had the 3 carat, but I'd rather for you to take that money and put it in a house. Okay?
But I think the ability to be able to buy that means you already have the means to be able to put it into a house.
Yeah,
I think that's what I think too much emphasis is being placed on the, like she said, the inanimate object of the ring. It's not that. It's your ability to be to a place to buy that ring.
So you should be at a certain status.
Exactly. Not status, but a certain point in life. Okay. Because maybe her evidently security, yeah. You should be, I'm imagining this person.
So what if the person never get, I mean, what if it takes them 10 years to get there? You're saying you're in love with this guy, you're going to wait 10 years
if your goals is that's the life that you want, then that's not the person for you.
So it's all about the paper. It's pretty much what we're saying.
It's not all about the paper, but it's not all about just being in love either. I don't think. I would never marry anybody just because I'm in love. I would never marry anybody. No, PR not. But that's something. That's something. I would never marry anybody. I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people who are beat. No, it's not. I know a lot of people who are dead in their graves behind being in love with somebody who beat their ass every day. Excuse me for saying ass, but who beat it every day. There has to be a lot more involved than just being in love.
Yeah, but with me, I was always taught from my mama, my dad, and my grandparents, with love it come money, with the money it come love.
And see, I was taught, my stepmom taught us, love is what love does. And it doesn't necessarily have to be material things, but I think of your significant other, especially a man, should be able to provide.
For the household.
Provide, protect, and profess his love.
And whatever level that is for you, that's your vision for your life.
Right.
Her vision for her life is evidently she wants to live large. Evidently she said, what can we do for each other? Evidently she already has the means to do it on her own. So the person that's going to come to her can't come to her with a 1 carat ring, is what she's saying. I mean, and that's different. I mean, for Ivana Trump, 3 carats might be like a 1 carat equivalent. You need to come to her with 10 carats for her life. That's, it's relative to whatever your situation, whatever you want in life.
That's her truth, and that's what she chooses to live by. But I'm saying it's not for all.
Right.
I get that. I understand. I have a better understanding of what it is that you're saying, and that's her truth. Me, I mean,
you have a different truth.
Right. I mean, you could give me 1 carat, 2 carat, 3 carat, a half a carat.
So just give you whatever. You really don't mind.
Well, I want what I want, but if you can't afford that, I'm not going to make you feel bad.
So where else will you be able to make concessions then? Because so you can't find a job. Oh, don't worry about it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months down the road, they still employed. Are you gonna say, well, don't worry about it, baby, because I love you. I'm gonna still take care of you.
Yeah, because it's a ring. Because what if I lose it?
I'm not talking about the ring. I'm talking about, okay, so the ring, you didn't care. You didn't have any type of standards about that. So when this person that you were in love with, that you married, decides they don't want to work anymore. There have been situations like that, and it's gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're the only person going out making money. When is that? When are you gonna make concessions for that?
Yes, I mean,
is love still enough? Is love still enough?
Yes, I'm gonna say absolutely yes.
Love is still enough.
I mean, because you don't
Paula
know.
B. Paula.
Because you don't know this. Because there's so many circumstances. There's so many things.
I'm not talking about they were injured, you know, they're under therapy or whatever.
You're just saying they just decided that
trifling Negro.
Oh, they trifling. Well, then that's.
But
that's
for you, love is enough.
No, but you said trifling, so you added another word to that. So
well, I think
then
any man who is able and does not choose to work, especially if he's married, is trifling.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and then after a while, that does wear on you, because if you're going to work every single day and they're not, you know what I mean, for whatever reason, because they just decide they don't want to, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's a horse of another color. That's bringing a whole different spectrum to the thing.
Oh man, okay, I got you. We did not get through a lot of our
we surely didn't
topics, but it was a good conversation. I appreciate it.
It was.
Yes, and thanks for our people. We had a lot of people that he was commenting on YouTube Live. Thank you for that, and on Facebook Live. Thank you, Nikki, for bringing those up. Thank you, Miss Glenda Kelly, and who else was talking? Rhonda and Glenda and Nate and all those. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much. I had fun.
Next week is our final show for the season. Christmas already. Party. December 6th. I have not figured out.
You know my birthday's December 13th.
December
6th is my mommy's birthday.
Okay. All right. December babies. What is that?
Sagittarius, the best sign ever.
Really?
You got to read about it.
Taurus is, but okay.
No.
Okay.
It's Sagittarian.
All right. Well, thank you too for. Did you have any where you want people to follow you or anything like that?
No, I'm fine.
With your girls out and all that, nobody. They're gonna follow you anyway. So, what about you, Minister Gravely? Did you want?
No, sir.
Nothing like that.
Don't follow me on Facebook.
All right, don't follow you. Okay, well, until next week, and we have our graduating. We're so proud of you. You'll be graduating on the 16th.
Yeah.
All right. So next week, our final show. Make sure that you tune in. Until then, everybody be blessed.
Thanks for tuning in to the hottest talk radio show around, providing an open discussion for some of the most important social issues and trending topics today. From personal growth or spirituality to sex and relationships, no subject is ever taboo. So prepare to be empowered, enlightened, and entertained during another episode of the award-winning Let's Face It with Will Strayhorn and Friends. Real people, real topics, real talk.